Tier 2 reporting for 2026 is coming up March 1st, but you're doing it backwards and you're begging for a costly audit with your manual math. In my 20 plus years in EHS, I've seen these types of mistakes absolutely destroy margins. So today I'm going to show you exactly how to fix your tier 2 weight calculations, threshold determinations, and your range code assignments with the AI before the deadline hits. And you'll want to stick around till the end for my pro tips. These are a couple of blind spots that even the most seasoned managers sometimes fail to clear. So, with that, let's get into it. Now, you should note that while I am a professional, I'm not your specific EHS consultant. This video is for educational purposes only, and your use of this information is at your own risk. Please read the full disclaimer on screen. The March 1st crunch is a psychological tax. Instead of shipping orders, you're stuck playing a human calculator. And you don't need an EHS manager, but you do need a privacy first workflow for AI. It converts volumes into audit ready poundages in seconds. No data risk, just pure efficiency. Look, AI is everywhere right now. But in EHS, guessing is a liability. I'm going to use AI to show you how you can use it for your tier 2 data verification and sorting today. But I know the EHS regs pretty well, and I'm willing to commit to actually reviewing the data. Now, if you're an EHS novice or you don't want to review your data for accuracy, then do not use this hack. AI is notorious for hallucinating. And frankly, the EPA is not going to care if a chatbot told you the wrong threshold. They're going to hold you responsible. Now, if you are ready to take the step from manual to automated, then I've outlined exactly what you need in my AI assisted tier 2 inventory verifier. You can find this inside my Business Leaders EHS Resource Vault. The link is in the description below. Now, let's hit step 1, the relative density trap. Now, hold on a minute. Are you using 8.34 pounds for every liquid in your warehouse? This is a classic mistake that triggers audits. Using the weight of water for industrial chemicals is a red flag that tells an inspector your data is just a guess. Every chemical has a unique relative density, or RD, that's found in section 9 of your SDS. This number represents the liquid's weight relative to water. So let's look up one real quick. Okay, I've got the safety data sheet here for diesel fuel. If we scroll down to section 9, physical and chemical properties, we can see that the relative density is 0.82 to 0.87, meaning the diesel weighs less than the water and it will float on water. Now, if you ignore relative density, you're either overreporting and inviting unnecessary EPA scrutiny or underreporting and risking hefty fines. In my 23 years in EHS, I've learned that a proactive posture is your best defense. If an SDS lists a range for RD, like the example that we showed, always use the maximum value. That way, you're managing your risk with precision without taking shortcuts. Now, here's a bonus insight. If you are consulting an old safety data sheet or an even older MSDS, the relative density may be listed as specific gravity. And if your product is a gas or a liquefied gas in a cylinder, then you need to locate the gas density to be able to make your calculations. Okay, so now we've navigated the relative density trap. But how do we get AI to handle all these conversions without hallucinating the math? Now, I've been in EHS long enough to see and even to have to deal with the nightmare that an unverifiable number can cause for a small or mid-sized leader. You've got this finished report, but the person who did it, they're no longer there, or their notes have gotten lost. So now you're left holding this document that you can't explain. And you know that if an inspector asks, how did you get this weight? Or what was the source of your conversion factor? The only answer that you've got is, I think the math is right. That lack of clear calculation methodology is exactly where hidden margin leakage starts. It creates a massive silent liability that sits on your books until an audit exposes it. So, how do we eliminate the unknown and create a defensible record? Let's take a look while we automate our liquid and gas weight calculations. All right, now before the AI can help us, we need to configure a prompt to help guide the AI, and it needs to include like our product names, the relative densities that we looked up, the gas densities, and the acid concentration for our batteries. So I've got all of that information right here in the prompt. You can look and see here that I'm doing what I call a privacy first workflow. So I'm not including any proprietary chemical formulas or internal inventory logs. I'm giving the AI the publicly available information. So the volumes and the densities to perform the math, that's it. That way you can keep your secret sauce kind of safe while still leveraging the speed and accuracy of the AI. So I'm going to quickly copy this prompt, and then I'm just going to place it into the AI. I'm using ChatGPT, and you can see that I'm on the free plan of ChatGPT, but you don't have to use this one. You could use Gemini or Claude or Gronk or Perplexity. The prompt should work that same way in all of them. So I'm going to click the up button and or arrow, and I'm going to let the AI do its magic. And so while it's doing its search and going through all of that, you can see here that it's gone through and it's worked through the calculations, and it's actually giving you the reference formulas for that and coming up with the total amounts here. And then it gives you a determination about whether or not it's an extremely hazardous substance or not, because the prompt even looked that up. This entire logic, including the automatic reporting threshold flagging, is built right into the prompt waiting for you inside my resources vault. But what about the one item that everyone forgets to calculate correctly? The lead acid battery is next. Most people report the weight of the entire battery. Stop doing that. You're over reporting. For tier 2, you only need to report the weight of the sulfuric acid inside the battery. Now, my prompt even handles the sulfuric acid from lead acid batteries perfectly, okay? It takes the total amount from each one of the types of batteries that you may enter into the prompt, and it actually calculates them separately but gives you a total for the sulfuric acid, because you do report by chemical, not, by the container. So even if you have differing battery types with different sulfuric acid contents, the verifier will do the math for you and make sure that it is done appropriately. This is how you stay honest and intelligent and efficient. Okay. And so you can also see that it gives you like conservative estimates for your average daily amount on site down here. Okay. And that's also built completely into the prompt. Okay. So you've got the numbers, but how do you prove to an inspector that you didn't just pull them out of thin air? An inspector doesn't want to see your best guess. They want to see your methodology. When you use the AI prompt in My Verifier, the transcript shows the math for every single calculation. I always tell my clients to print that transcript as a PDF. That becomes your calculation methodology. It turns a stressful audit into a 2-minute, this is how I did my data conversion conversation. It shows that not just that you're compliant, but that you're an operational pro. Now, before we wrap up, I want to give you my 2 expert blind spots that often catch even experienced managers off guard during an audit. You're using the standard calculations that we just walked through, but you need to make sure that you aren't making these 2 assumptions. First, remember that tier 2 is not based on your monthly average. It's based on the maximum amount on site at any given point in time. Think about your loading dock. If you have a bulk chemical delivery and it arrives while you still got 10% of your old stock on hand, it's that combined weight. Even if it's just for 24 hours, that's your maximum daily amount for the year. If that 1 day overlap pushes you beyond that 10,000 pound limit, then you're legally required to report for that chemical. So don't let a 24-hour, inventory bulge create a compliance gap for you when it comes to tier 2. Second, beware of ghost inventory. Because tier 2 is a retrospective report on the previous calendar year, you have to look backward, not just at what's in your warehouse today. Now, if you had a chemical on site like January 1st, 2025 that exceeded the threshold, then you must report it. Even if you phased out that chemical in February 2025 and you haven't seen a drop of it since. Your reporting obligation is tied to the previous 12 months of purchasing records, not just what your current inventory is right now. If it was on site at the threshold weight or more for more than a day, then you have to report it. Now, once you think that you're set for the March 1st deadline, that's probably when you're going to realize that your chemical inventory isn't your only hidden profit leak. Automating your calculations and data verifications is an intelligent and efficient win for your schedule. But watching this video is only the first step towards a defensible 2026 Tier 2 filing. To ensure that you're fully prepared before the March 1st deadline, you must take action. And I have 2 specific resources that can help you do just that. First, the AI assisted tier 2 inventory verifier. As I told you, it's in the Business Leaders EHS Vault. The link is in the description below. In it, it has the exact prompt that we use today to help you turn your inventory data into defensible poundage in seconds. The second resource is the hidden margin leakage scorecard. While you're in the vault, you can grab this scorecard and you can diagnose those operational costs that are draining your profits, from unmanaged labor risks to waste inefficiencies, things that really stall your ability to scale. Now, while most leaders are focused on their chemical tanks, they tend to ignore the universal waste that's slowly piling up in their maintenance closets and in their back rooms. But these hidden, unchecked items can trigger an up to $70,000 fine simply because they're not on your radar. Now, if you want to protect your P&L from these overlooked liabilities, join me in the video that's on your screen now.